Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And I'm sitting outside on my front porch because Alex is inside watching TV and eating a little bit of dinner, and I thought I'm going to come out here while it's still somewhat warm. I think it's about 70 today. I'm getting ready to bring all the fall stuff out here. I'm going to get mums and all kinds of fun stuff for the fall, for the front porch. So I thought I would sit out here today and read some meditation books. I'm like watching my neighbors as they walk by. I love to just sit out here and rock and watch my neighbors go by and wave to them and say, hey, how are you doing? Beautiful evening. And it is such a beautiful evening in Indianapolis. It's blue skies, just dotted clouds here and there, and I'm excited to listen to my audiobook tonight and finish that and just kind of relax and hang out a little bit. So I keep all of my meditation books in the bathroom in this cabinet all the way to the side. I probably have, I don't know, I have like another 10 downstairs in the basement. I probably have like 20, maybe 30 upstairs. So I thought I'm going to read from meditation books that I never read from on this channel today. So I went in and I pulled these 6 out. You can see that these are actually really worn, like I've used them through the years. And some of them were my mom's and some of them are mine. Seek Sobriety, Find Serenity, Thoughts for Every Day by Rabbi Abraham Twersky, who is really known in the addictions field. And this actually has my mom's sponsor's name in it, so I maybe try to get that back to her at some point. I have a copy of this as well that I think my mom got me at one point. And then Meditations for Living in Balance, Daily Solutions for People Who Do Too Much by Ann Wilson Sheff. I have another meditation book from her as well. And then Healing After Loss, Daily Meditations for Working Through Grief by Martha Whitmore Hickman. And this was actually given to me by the mother, you can see it's inscribed, by the mother who I reached out to when people were telling me, you know, you got to move on, you got to move on. And so I called her up, and she's actually the one that said to me, no, you don't ever move on, you move through, and you carry the memories with you as well. And she said she said that someone gave this to her when her son died, and that it really helped her get through difficult times, and that she hopes that I'll feel it as healing as she did. So she said, and please call me if you're ever in need. I think it's like things like this during times of grief. You know, we always think about food or just calling somebody up and saying, you know, my deepest sympathies. I mean, I think sometimes we don't really know what to do. We don't really like teach people what to do in times of grieving. And like little books like this that I received from probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 friends of mine were really, really helpful. I have another book in there. It's a little bit bigger than this about grieving. And just little personal anecdotes like that, and things like that that people give you during times of grieving, I think are really, really nice. And then I have Daily Affirmations for Forgiving and Moving On, Powerful Inspiration for Personal Change by T.N. Dayton, PhD. And then I have, this one is like really weathered. I think my dad and my stepmom gave this to me. Yep, it's my dad and my stepmom. Pete, welcome back, we love you. And it's signed my dad and my stepmom. And this one is like, you can tell, it's like really worn. And this is A Time to Be Free, Daily Meditations for Enhancing Self-Esteem. And then the last one, I think I actually bought this in the last year maybe, Days of Healing, Days of Joy. This is from the Hazelden Meditation Series. Daily Meditations for Adult Children of Alcoholics. And so I don't know much about this one, so I might read that if we get to that, but let's just go backwards, and I'm going to read from A Time to Be Free, Daily Meditations for Enhancing Self-Esteem. I'll read from that one first today. Are you excited to see the mums out here and stuff? I'll try to maybe sit out here when I get the fall plants and those kinds of things, and pumpkins and the gourds as well. All right, September 25th. Let's see. We have been married 10 years and 1 month today, I just realized. September 20th. Oh, these are long meditations too. I like the longer meditations. September 25th. For many years, the 3 most frequently used words in my vocabulary were I, me, and hate. I hated my parents for being so hard on me. I hated the army sergeant who made an example of me. I hated the doctor who misdiagnosed me, and so on and so on, and so on and so forth. I was a bitter, resentful person, poisoned by the past and fearful of the future. Because I vehemently resisted forgiving anyone, ever, my hatred owned me. In my view, forgiveness meant whitewashing wrongs that had been committed. I believed that if I forgave someone, I would condone what they had done and even give up my right to disagree. In short, I would become a doormat. I eventually reached the point where I could no longer live a life ruled by fear, anger, and hatred. I wanted to change, so much so that I became willing to put aside my pride and at least try to be more forgiving. When I did so, I found that I didn't have to compromise my dignity, sacrifice my principles, or give in to someone else's wrongful behavior. When I began to practice forgiveness, the only thing I gave up was my pain. Thought for today. Forgiveness is neither a concession nor a compromise, but a positive transition to understanding and love. I really, really like this meditation. I think that forgiveness is something that I've definitely had to practice a lot, in my sobriety, but I would really say in the last couple years, and forgiveness for me comes in a lot of different ways. I love the definition by Oprah that, forgiveness is accepting that what happened in the past happened. Not that what happened was okay. It's not saying that, forgiving somebody isn't saying, hey, I forgive you and I'm going to forget what happened. It's not saying that. It's saying, I accept that what happened, happened. I can't change it. I can't go back and change the past. I accept what happened. But now, what am I going to do with that so that I don't have to hold on to, this hatred in my heart, this anger in my heart that continues to rule me? Can I let you go? Can I say, you know what, I don't want anything with you. I'm going to set healthy limits and boundaries. You hurt me. I've learned that you hurt me. I've learned that I don't need you in my life. But, I also realize that you're a sick person. One of the things that my sponsor has me do a lot, is she'll have me say the prayer for the sick person. And the prayer for the sick person has been so helpful for me in realizing that many people in the time that they're, the saying, hurt people hurt people. Well, if I've been hurt by somebody, maybe that's because, and this is not an excuse, it's just trying to understand more, that maybe they're in a sick place in their life right now. Maybe they need to do some healing. What I can do with that is I can distance myself and I can say, I wish you compassion in your life. I wish you the best as far as healing. And now I let you go. And I wish you to have the best life possible. But you're not going to have an effect on me anymore. And I can release that with love. That's where we talk about detaching with love. I can love human beings and say, you know what, we're not supposed to be in each other's lives, but I love you today. Best of luck on your journey, all the blessings in your life. I hope that you heal. I hope that you get less filled with anger, but I don't need to have you in my life anymore. And I accept what happened in the past happened, and I'm not okay with it, but I also realize that you're a sick person, and what happened, was part of that, and now I choose to move on so that I'm not held hostage to that pain anymore. That is forgiveness. And I have really, really had to learn that through the years, and I've also had people forgive me that don't want anything to do with me. And that's totally fine, right? That's part of the amends process in recovery, is, I had an ex from years and years and years ago. I honestly made amends to him when I was 28 at a funeral. And I share this story a lot at meetings. And when I made amends to him, part of the amends process is, what do you need me to do to rectify this? And he looked at me and he said, you can have nothing to do with me ever again. Don't contact me. Don't talk to me. I don't ever want to talk to you. I was like, I can do that, but I needed to take responsibility for my actions, for being, a horrible boyfriend when I was drinking and stuff. And, so part of that is letting go of that pain and that hatred and that anger from the past. Because, for people in recovery, resentments are number one offenders. They can hold on to us and weight us down and really take us to the depths, And for people that aren't in recovery too, it's do you want to wake up every day with anger, hatred, misery, bitterness, and resentment in your heart? No. Wouldn't you rather live with compassion, love, and kindness? It's just a better, easier way to live, This is a fantastic meditation. I got to remember this one so I can read. Maybe I'll start reading from different ones. Well, since we're talking about forgiveness, I will read from Forgiving and Moving On, Powerful Inspiration for Personal Change. I have a couple books by T.N. Dayton, PhD. Okay, it's so funny because it went right to, I have this dog-eared, Releasing Anger, May 14th. Okay, let's go to September 25th. Love the sound of pages turning while the birds are chirping. Autonomy, September 25th. Today I understand that I was not able to claim my autonomy as a child in healthy ways. When I tried to put needed and healthy distance in my relationships with my parents, it bothered them, I suppose, because it made them feel rejected, activating their own abandonment issues, and because they thought I would never come back. Rather than support me in my journey away from them and toward myself, they rejected me for pushing them away. It made it so frightening for me to separate that I devised ways of only sort of separating. I reasoned out in my childlike mind that separation meant rejection and that I would lose the relationships I love completely if I allowed myself to feel separate. I thought that to be close to someone, I had to be like them. I can allow myself to feel separate. Every real object must cease to be what it seemed, and none could ever be what the whole soul desired. George Santayana. Interesting meditation. You know, I think... I know, I'm thinking about autonomy with, you know, like my friends. Like, each of my friends are so completely different and separate in what they believe. And I think that the one thing that joins us is that we kind of have a core set of principles of love, compassion, kindness, you know, understanding, and forgiveness towards one another. But when I look at each of my friends, you know, we're so, all of us, completely different. And, you know, even my family, like, I wouldn't want to have the people in my life if we were all, you know, so alike that we didn't allow the other person to grow. I think one of the greatest things that has happened, you know, in my relationship, in my marriage, is in, you know, when Alex and I were first together, we had this need to always be, like, right together, right? And I think in allowing each other to grow in our own ways and be supportive of that is miraculous, you know? And I can sit back and go, wow, that's my husband, you know? Like, he's grown in such a cool way. And he'd do the same thing as well. And our lives don't have to be, like, so completely, you know, together. And I think there's also a fine line between that and being completely separate, too, you know? I think that part of it, though, is also... just dropped my book. Part of it is also... neighbors walking by. That, you know, I have friends of mine who, you know, when they were younger, their parents would say, well, I don't think that you should go into theater, or I don't think you should go into writing or whatever, because, you know, how are you going to pay your bills? I think a lot of parents do that out of fear, right? Well, what are you going to do with this? What are you going to do with that? If you move out on your own now. And I feel very blessed that I had parents that really encouraged me to do things that I loved. And so, and I had their emotional support as well, because I think it is hard to find your own separateness, your own autonomy. And I think that a lot of families and a lot of loved ones are afraid of that. It's like, when we start becoming different, I think that scares people, you know? It's like, I love the song by Judy Collins and Joni Mitchell, Both Sides Now. They both do such different versions of it, but I used to love the Judy Collins version, but the Joni Mitchell version is, like, just hauntingly beautiful to me now. But at the end of the song, she goes through, you know, like, life, love, and whatever, or is it life, love, and whatever, but she says, old friends say I'm not the strange, I'm not the same, they shake their heads and say I've changed. And, you know, I think it's fearful to friends when we change. It's fearful to family members when we change. They don't know what to do with that. They're like, what's going on? Like, you know, who is this person? I don't know this person anymore. Who is this person that's saying, be too much, be too much, be too much, you know? That scares me. And sometimes it doesn't scare them because they don't like it. Sometimes it scares them because they're afraid for us, you know? I was just talking about this in my vlog the other day. I remember when I came out to my mom as being gay, and she said to me, I'm afraid for you. Society is not kind to gay people. And I think that often that... I'm trying to get away from saying a lot or never, you know, but often I think that parents, family members, friends are afraid for us of what's going to happen, you know. Well, what if he goes to New York City and pursues, you know, theater, and then it doesn't happen, and then, well, there's a lot of people out there that have tried things and they didn't make it, you know, and I think that's where we discover our own autonomy, and you know, and the way I look at it and the way I was taught by my parents is, you only have one life. This is your life. What is it going to speak of? What do you want your life to speak of? At the end of your life, what do you want it to look back and say, you know? And it doesn't have to be in huge ways. It doesn't at all, you know? It could be in, like, hey, we recycle. Or I'm looking out here because I'm thinking of my neighbors, you know, and all of us putting our recycling bins out there. But no, I mean, that's one way to find our autonomy, you know? It's in small ways, you know, of cooking meals, sitting down and having family dinners versus, you know, whatever. It's like, there's so many different ways to find your autonomy. You know, the music that you listen to, the books that you read, the movies that you watch, the TV shows that you watch. Those are all ways to find your separateness and your uniqueness. But we're only here but for a minute, and we only have one life. We should each find what speaks of our soul, you know? All right, that's something I could go on and on and on about. I love talking about that. Let's find one more meditation. I kind of feel like reading from this adult children one, but I want to see what it says first, because I don't really remember this book very well. Okay, I have no idea what this is going to say, so let's just read from it. All right, September 25th. Envy's a coal comes hissing hot from hell. Philip James Bailey. A co-worker wins the grand prize in a drawing. A neighbor inherits enough money to add a room to her house and to take a great vacation. A friend's son or daughter wins a scholarship. What's our reaction? Do we automatically rejoice at someone else's good fortune? Or do we immediately sink into a pity of self-pity and resentment, having to force a smile and a word of congratulations? Occasional flickers of envy are human and inevitable, but a chronic sense of being cheated is a sign of spiritual disorder, a sign that there's work to be done. Acceptance and gratitude are the antidotes to the misery machine of envy. Why not me? In the face of another's windfall may just as logically be asked in the face of another's tragedy. Let us have the wisdom to accept our lives as they are and to be less blind to the advantages we already have. Today I am grateful for what I have and gracious about what other people have. Wow, what a journey, I think that is. And I think for all of us, it's hard when great things happen to other people sometimes. It's like, I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine the other night, and they were telling me about how somebody came into like a large sum of money, and it wasn't through like a death or anything. I mean, it was through like a positive way. It wasn't something negative, but it wasn't something that they had like, busted their butt. It was kind of handed to them. And I'm like, that would be really nice, because my friend was telling me, like they're buying a lot of different things and they're redoing this. I was like, that would be really nice, but I think that one of the things I've really learned, like the deep lesson for me is when my friend said to me is that we always lose by comparison. My life is not like somebody else's. My journey is completely different. And what I have in my life today and what somebody else has in their life is completely different. And, my mom used to say to me, like she hated those pictures, those Christmas pictures, people put out. She'd always say, their life looks so perfect, but behind the scenes, I know that this is going on and this is going on and whatever. But I also don't look at the world that way anymore. Like I would for a long time look at the world and be like, sure, they got all this money, but I'm sure that their relationship is horrible, No, there are people out there that have a lot of good fortune and their lives are amazing. And why would we not want that for people, Why would we not want that for people? Because when good things are happening to us, don't we want people to be happy for us? And I think that's all that reciprocal energy that we have to put out there in the world. There have been times in my life that I've been very jealous and envious of other people, and I just didn't understand it, And today what I've realized is my journey is different. And, the things that maybe I'm going to have in my life, spiritually, emotionally, financially, physically, materialistically, whatever, spiritually, emotionally, are different than what somebody else is going to have. The timing is different of when I'm going to have it. Or maybe I'm never going to have it, And I also think that when I really look collectively at my life, when I think about, this person got all this and they have all that, from a financial, superficial point of view, when I look at like the happiest moments in my life, and my sponsor and I spent a long time talking about this yesterday. When I look at the moments that are happiest in my life, like I was talking to my sponsor yesterday and Tanya, and I was like, my best friend Tanya, I was like, you guys are home to me. I mean, like they are home to me. My husband is home. My dog is home, this patio. When I look at the moments in my life that are the happiest to me, that bring the most joy, it's the smallest moments. And like we kind of like, it's kind of a catchphrase now to say like these moments are priceless, but they literally are, It's like, what does a fountain pop with my friend cost, 89 cents for a large fountain pop, and I don't know, $5 for driving around, $3 maybe for driving around the gas, for, an hour. And I look at that and I think, okay, $4 for just having an amazing evening. Or my husband and I laying in bed with the dogs looking at TikToks, it's just like, or walking outside or talking to my neighbors, or it's all of it is just, those are the moments to me that mean the most. And sure, I like the nice things, and sure, I like all of that, right? But it pales in comparison to the rest. I just don't think that those are the things that at the end of our life we look back on. I don't think those are the things that we look back on. I think they're the moments. And I think they're the times that we spend with people, And I've even had times just alone, where I'm like listening to an audiobook in my car and there's like kind of like a cheesy moment and I get all excited about it. I'm like, okay, so it doesn't have to be moments always with other people. It can be moments by ourselves where we're just, having a really good scoop of ice cream, watching a TV show, and we're just finally getting to relax, or a bath. Or have you ever just laid your head on the pillow and you're like, oh, my pillow feels so comfortable tonight, or putting your leg out to air condition it while you're sleeping at night. My mom used to always talk about the air conditioned leg. All of those moments, that just make up what life is really all about. Charlie Brown. So anyway, those were good meditations. I like those books. Maybe I should read from some different books. Let me know if you would like that in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.